Hey, I'm Larry Vickers, and this is the Aimpoint Acro P-1 torture test. Now, I have a long history with Aimpoint products, using them through my TV shows as well as my military service, and I can attest they're world-renowned for ruggedness and reliability. It's time to see if the Acro P-1 lives up to that standard. We have a variety of real-world based tests that we're going to put this through. I'll explain to you each step of the way, and we're going to push this thing to the max. Okay, we're going to start this off. I've already zeroed the Acro P-1 on this 509, and I'm going to verify the zero for you. Middle piece of steel. Okay, good to go. Now, I'm going to put it in water. I'm going to come up, show you that the dot is still on, fire some shots on steel. Then we're going to put it in sand. I'm going to bring it up, show you that the dot is still on, fire some shots on steel, and then we're going to put it in mud, bring it up, wipe it off, show you the dot's still on, fire some shots on steel. Now, straight up, we've already done this before a while back. We know that it's going to go through this with flying colors. Understand something, this is where the Aimpoint Acro P-1 starts and where everything else is going to shut down, because this is a closed emitter optic. I can't emphasize that enough. The emitter is completely enclosed. So it's waterproof, dustproof, mudproof, sandproof, all that. Other optics on the market are not. So we're going to kick it off and we'll see where it goes from there. Stay tuned. Water up first. All right, bringing it up. You can see the dot is still on. Now we're going to get some shots on target. All right, next up is sand. I'm going to stick the top of the gun down, make sure the optic is completely buried. Then I'm going to bring it up, show you that the red dot is still on. You can see through the optic, and I'll engage that third piece of steel. So here we are. Yep, no problem. You can see it right through there. A little bit of dust on the outside lenses, but no big deal. You can still see it. Now, I'm going to come up on target. All right, now it's going in the mud. I had to reset the trigger a little bit. It got some sand in the trigger mechanism and kind of gritted it up. Optic worked fantastic, no issues at all. So now it's time for the mud. Now, this is a test of the optic, not necessarily the pistol, so I'm just really putting the top of the pistol in to make sure that the Aimpoint Acro P-1 is completely submerged in the mud. All right, and I'm gonna bring it back up on target. Got plenty of mud in play here. Let me get off some mud so I can see through the optic. Okay, there's the red dot. All right, now I'm up on target. I'm gonna try to get some hits. All right, well, the optic came through with flying colors. Got some sand in the gun, so this is a pretty rough test on this pistol. Water, sand, and mud. Pretty rough test. You get sand inside the mechanism and you can have issues resetting the trigger. Optic came through with flying colors, as you can see. We're going to get this thing cleaned up and we're on to the next test. All right, gang, the next test we're going to do here, we're going to talk about how this thing is attached to the slide. Now, one of the big advantages that the Acro P-1 has is not only is it a fully enclosed optic, which means the emitter is enclosed, and water, sand, mud, and whatnot is not going to affect your ability to see that dot, but also the way it attaches to the slide. It attaches to the slide with a dovetail mount. All right, it also has a recoil lug, so it grabs the slide very securely. You actually need to be more concerned about how your mounting plate is attached to the slide versus the Acro P-1. This is a huge advantage for this optic. Another one is the fact that the front, it has a protective lens. That is not the front lens that the dot is shown on. This is a protective lens that protects the front of the optic, so even if it gets cracked, you'll still be able to see the red dot and make the shot. Now, I'm fixing to light this thing up for you and show you I can still get hits on target. right, Acro P-1, hits are on target, good to go. Didn't lose zero, no issues at all. Why is this important, especially law enforcement and military? In case you lose the use of one hand, you need to be able to pick your pistol up, rack it against something firm, and get back on target. You need to know that your optic is not going to come loose, and the Acro P-1 solidly bolted to your slide is going to retain its zero. Acro P-1 passed with flying colors. On to the next test. Okay, next up is a drop test. And we have 3 different drop tests we're going to do, and I'm going to explain to you how we're going to set up each one. First one is pistol is going to be dropped from waist height. Theory behind this: law enforcement, military, or civilian accidentally drops the pistol out of their holster and it happens to land right on top of the Acro. They need to have confidence that the optic is still going to get the job done. Now, we have the weapon loaded magazine, but no round in the chamber. Okay, so it's going to be in condition 3 to make this safe, and we're going to purposely turn the gun over so we know 100% for sure the Acro is going to hit first. So I'll drop it from waist height, then turn around, rack around the chamber, and get some hits on the steel. All right, here we go. Stand by. Here we go. In the chamber, coming up on steel. Okay, good to go. Now clear it out. Set it back up. Now is going to be eye level. So the gun's full extension. For whatever reason, you happen to drop the weapon and it falls from eye level down and hits the pavement. Let's see how it goes. All right. On target. Okay, now, protective lens up front. Let me clear the gun out so you can see what I'm talking about. Protective lens is now cracked, but still able to get hits on target, no problem at all, because the lens that the dot reflects off of is still intact. Now it's time to take it up on the ladder. Okay, now the drop test from the top of the ladder. This simulates somebody crawling in through a second-story window, law enforcement, military, or whatnot, and they happen to lose the pistol out of their holster. And the pistol drops and hits the pavement, hitting the Acro first. And I'm going to do the best I can to angle the handgun so it hits the pavement Acro first, all right? Then I'll grab the gun, rack around the chamber, and get some hits on steel. Here we go. Stand by. So the dot's still on, glass is still intact. Time to get some hits on target. All right, good to go. Good hits on target. The front protective lens is cracked, but the actual front lens that the dot reflects off of, that you see when you look through the rear of the optic, is still good to go. Good hits. Acro came through it. Good job. Hey, Larry Vickers here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click here to subscribe to the Vickers Tactical channel and take time out to check out some of our other favorite videos.